Carried. Thank you very much. And the next item on the agenda is the AAC Victoria Street Revitalisation detailed traffic resolutions. Who would like to? These are. Does someone want to? You're happy to move that, Mike? Seconded by Andrew. Are there any questions? Yanni?
Yeah, I just wanted to get real clarity because previously Victoria Street had come to the local community board, and in this particular case I just wanted to check why it's not gone to the community board for a recommendation or a decision.
It's a project of metropolitan significance that goes to council for a decision. There's no recommendation, there's no changes to the approved design. So it is only approving the legalisation of the lines and signs.
So is this like a new thing that the boards don't get informed of things, even if they're metropolitan, or?
No, but there was no feedback required from the board. There's nothing changed from what the board commented on, but it is a council decision.
Okay. And the second question I had, is any work started on this? In terms of the resolutions we're passing, has any of the work been done?
Yes.
So
Victoria Street
yeah.
is well underway, and as council you've had a number of memos about that.
So why would we be retrospectively making a decision? Like if we voted no, what would happen?
If you voted no, we wouldn't be able to enforce any of the lines and signs down there, and the police would not be able to enforce it.
Right. Okay. I'm just wondering like why we don't make this decision.
At the time this went through council for a decision, we were at a very high level scheme stage, and we knew there were some changes that were as a result of the decision, and we asked for council's permission at the time to come back. So this is in line with that resolution as detailed on that day, with the detailed resolutions for the legalisation of the signs and lines.
Okay.
Sarah?
Cool.
So just check. So community board gave feedback for the original decision on the actual design.
Yes.
And the design that we saw as council and signed off on included sort of a general, the feedback, but also the general, where the yellow lines and the stop signs and things were going to go. All this is the actual enforcement resolutions, which detail the number of centimetres from the intersection and stuff. But we've already said that yes to where the lines are going.
Yes.
Mike?
Thank you. I just speaking to the second. I'd just like to add one addition to it.
Sorry?
One addition to the resolutions, which is for future detailed traffic resolutions for metropolitan transport projects are delegated to the chair and deputy chair of the Urban Development and Transport Committee to approve. These are just these are just technical formalities on a decision that's already made by.
I'm not going to accept the resolution. I actually accept the premise of it, and that is to have a small group delegated for these detailed decisions. I agree with it, but I'd like your committee to take care of that when you get your committee reinstated. So, thank you.
I'd like to second.
Tim.
Yeah. I haven't changed at all. No. So, Lynette, just to make it clear, the process which we're looking at and which you've carried through is as it has been explained to the councillors at the very first start of this process. So it's suddenly not thrown at us at the last minute. No. You've put a whole lot of things in, and you now need us in retrospect. This has been the process which we agreed early on. I just want to make that clear to everybody. This has not been thrown at us.
No.
Good, thank you.
This is in line. This is in line with the original resolutions that were made at the time.
With memos and information.
And memos and information.
Absolutely. Yep. So just wanted to make that clear.
The reasons for these really detailed resolutions is so that they can be policed and enforced when they go to court. If someone argues, it's really pedantic. But if you don't do that, then someone gets and parks in a place and they've got out for it. So basically this is to the level of needing court proof.
So we're going to expect the chair of the committee to be talking to staff about a paper that will come forward with a proper structured discussion about where decisions should be delegated. And I do agree that we need to have a group of councillors with staff who are willing to look at the technical detail of these decisions so that they're signed off legally and are enforceable.
quickly.
So that's my understanding of where we're heading. Yanni? There's still questions? Okay, so, right, so it's been moved and seconded. So I'll open it up to debate. Yanni?
Yeah, thanks. So I think we do need to kind of just have a bit of a think about how these decisions are made. It is very confusing if decisions have already been made and then they come back to the council and don't go back to the original decision makers. But in September 2016, on the 22nd, the Hagley Ferrymead Community Board made decisions to the ITI Committee or recommendations around this project, and Fendalton Waimari Community Board also were able to make Part A recommendations, as was the Shirley Papanui Community Board. So I think there's just a real lack of clarity around when we involve boards in decisions, if they're metropolitan or if they're not metropolitan. We do have a map that shows the area of the central city that's metropolitan, and part of Victoria Street is not in that map. It is within the actual community board's delegation. So I appreciate that the chair is going to do some work around these kind of additional layers of resolutions that come. Yeah, the chair. So, you know, I think it's best to wait till that time and discuss it. But just to go back to when council made the central city delegation map, it always said at the time that even if the board wasn't the decision maker, it would still have the right to give feedback formally through like a reporting process, e.g. recommendations. So, you know, I think we should be consistent across the city. And if things are metropolitan, I totally get that they come to the council, but it shouldn't preclude the board from being informed and having an ability to give that local feedback. There are local residents groups in this area that have a relationship with the community board. So, but I'm happy to support this today. I think if we can learn from it, that would be the best outcome.
Tim and Sarah.
Thank you. I just want to thank staff for the process that we've gone through. It's been really difficult, but it's also been difficult for those businesses on Victoria Street, and to kind of ping pong around 23 pages of technical changes and what is required for the street. I don't think it really, I think it is metropolitan, and I think it is the right process that we've gone through. I just want to see this finished as soon as possible for those organisations and those companies that are on associate streets. And I know that I got approached by a couple which staff have dealt with extremely well, and thank you for the work that's done. I think this is a good process.
Sarah.
Thank you. And I'd like to point out that there's a difference in how we do metropolitan. So sometimes within the central city, projects are metropolitan because they are within the boundary of the area on the map. But sometimes projects are metropolitan because of the nature of the project itself and how it affects our transport as a city, all those kind of things. And I think that a really clear look at how those decisions are made and where they're made is really important, not just for these particular lines and things, but actually a broader discussion on that. Because things have been difficult in a couple of areas where things cross over between board and council delegations, and that needs to be smoothed out. As Councillor Johansson pointed out, 3 community boards have had a really close look at the design itself and where the lines went, where the restrictions would be, and all of that kind of thing, and gave feedback. But I don't think that it's a useful way of using expensive council staff time and energy and resources to get the boards to look at whether 20 centimetres or 60 centimetres from an intersection or a line is the right way to go. So looking forward to a broader discussion on the delegations and where they sit.
Thank you. Mike.
Thank you. And yeah, this I guess is why the chair is going to look at actually trying to simplify this process. This is a simple technical report based on a substantive decision that we've made. It has actually been a long time coming, and it has been through community boards, it has been through the community. This item now, this report does not need to go back to those forums to actually get more recommendations or decisions. There are technical reports, and it needs to be done just so we can actually enforce what we're going to put in. Actually, I'm want to actually congratulate staff and contractors on the actual work on Victoria Street. The speed at what this project has been done at is absolutely impressive, and it actually shows what City Council can do in transport. But yeah, I'm happy that I've moved this, and I look forward to trying to simplify the process to actually make sure these technical reports don't need to be debated for considerable time when they're straightforward. Thank you.
That's lovely, thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried.